Hey, this is the Work Hard, Rock Harder podcast. Doing things a little bit different without the intro music. I'm going to be changing things up. I've actually decided to change the format a little bit of Work Hard, Rock Harder, and I'm going to be interviewing musicians that are successful or else other people in the biz that can really help a band just starting out with some great advice. So I hope you enjoy today's interview. It's with a friend of mine, James Honeycutt. So, yeah, check it out and stick around to the very end because then I'll be playing a little bit of James's music. All right, take care. Enjoy. Hello, this is Chris Seth Jackson from HowToRunABand.com. This is episode number 30 of Work Hard, Rock Harder. I have a guest on today. His name is James Honeycutt, and he is my neck of the woods here in Washington. He lives over in Bremerton, and he is a successful musician. I think we might have even shared the stage once or twice, at least with the same bands, coincidentally, because I think you were in, hey, James, so you were in the Swinos, and I think briefly in Neutral Boy, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I played the stage with those bands, but I don't know if you were in the band at the same time. Like, played the Them is one of the bands I was in.
Okay, yeah, I think the Swinos played together with you, and I might have been in Neutral Boys. Neutral Boys had a lot of people in it. Swinos has had a few other members, but I was in the Swinos pretty solid for about 5 or 6 years between, I think, 2005 to 2011 when we played our last show. If it was around that time, it sounds familiar. I think we did play together.
Yeah, we must have played together then, because we played at like some crappy Roller Girls thing in what was that place called? That used to be Jimmy Z's.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like we were like the last bands on night, and all the like actual like burlesque girls left, so there was like nobody in the audience.
That was a fun one.
But anyway, introduce yourself. Like, what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm in Walla Walla, Washington. I just played at an all-ages club called Be in Town, and I'm playing in Dayton, Washington tonight at Mace Mead Works. It's like a brewery that makes old-style mead. I'm going to be playing there tonight. And then Wednesday night, I'm flying out to New York and then flying to Poland to start a European tour for the entire month of June with the band I play in. I play in a band, it's kind of a bluegrass meets gypsy jazz band called Jake Orvis and the Broken Band. I play guitar in that band, and we're headlining the tour, and we're playing with a Polish psychobilly band called the Jetsons, and I'll be doing my own solo set too, and we're doing, I think, like 25 dates through the month of June all over Europe. So, yeah, I'm in Washington right now, but I'm about to head to Europe for a month.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So how many bands are you in? Because I know you have your solo project, but how many other bands are you in at the present moment?
Let me think. Well, it kind of depends on how you look at it, because I'm in a few bands that don't play that often. We might play once a year, once every couple of years. Like I sing in a Black Sabbath cover band called Luke's Wall, and we usually do that maybe once a year, twice a year kind of thing. I play in a death metal band called Woodrot, and we play once a year or a couple of years. But as far as like full time, really being active stuff, it's Jake Orvis and the Broken Band and my solo thing. My solo thing is my main thing, and I play guitar in that band full time. So those are the two main things I got going on.
Gotcha. So yeah, I've been thinking of doing solo stuff myself. So is that a big money maker for you as far as you being able to be successful?
I don't make a lot of money, but I make more money playing by myself. And I think the reason is there's just more flexibility there.
Yeah.
Like I can play, at a wine bar, just playing mellow songs. I can play my mellow songs. I can play covers. You can just get more gigs doing that, and also it's easier in a sense because the money splits up better. If I make $100 by myself, that goes a lot further than it does making $300 in a band with 4 or 5 people. Plus, I drive around in my Honda too. I've got a Honda Civic, so I actually have decent gas mileage, whereas most bands don't, because you're in a van and just eating the gas away. It's way more expensive doing the band thing. So in that sense, I think I do better that way. Like, I enjoy playing with the band, but I definitely make more money. It's more cost effective when I'm by myself on the road.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been thinking about that myself. I mean, like it wouldn't be that expensive being in a band if it wasn't for the drum set, really.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. So that's great. So how long have you been, doing this as like a full-time gig?
Um, I first started playing when I was 11, 12 years old, like in 1985, 86. I started my first band in 1987. It was a thrash band called Aggressor, and but I started first as far as full time. I left my job in 2007. Yeah, the summer of 2007. So I've technically been a full time musician for almost 6 years now.
Oh, nice. 6 years. That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Hey, you're living the dream. A lot of us would love to be doing that.
I am totally living the dream. I'm broke and I live with my folks at the moment.
Hmm.
I turned 40 in December, so I'm kind of, as I like to say, pop show material at this point. But it is the dream, and it basically it's making the choice to go after things that you can't really assess on a monetary type scale. You know, I don't make a lot of money, but what I do get, the wealth that I do get is priceless. You can't really put a numerical value on it. I get to do what I love, and no paycheck, like all the money in the world, isn't worth that in my opinion. So I may be broke and live with my parents, but I'm an incredibly wealthy person in the ways that matter, you know, and I'm very humbly aware and appreciative of that. You know, it's not something I take for granted because just like you said, there are a lot of people that would love to be doing what I'm doing and experiencing whatever quote unquote problems that may come along with that I experience. You know, it's a wonderful thing.
That's great advice. It's something I've kind of learned the hard way myself. I got really deep into debt, and I quit my job and at Microsoft, and I got a new job. But during that, I like cashed out everything and got myself out of debt and I'm reducing my expenses every month now to the point where I know I could quit my job and do music. So
Awesome.
I understand where you're coming from when you just make the choices of what's really important. Is it watching HBO every month, Games of Thrones, or playing music?
Exactly, man. I think most of us really know the answer to that at the end of the day, but I think we've all been kind of programmed and brainwashed to think differently. I mean, we've really been groomed and taught how to be good materialists as we grow up, and the idea that that carrot that's outside of you, that's what you need to get. You know, it's like you need to get this to make you feel better, or make you look better, or sound better. You need this car, this house, all this stuff, but really, at the end of the day, I mean, the reality is that happiness and passion and love come from within. So I think most of us know that if we sit down and think about it. And I think that's why when we don't go after what makes us happy, why there's always that battle, you feel torn inside because your heart knows that you're not happy and that you're kind of being lied to and that this isn't the right path. But it's so ingrained in the brain to do that that I think a lot of people, they never cross over to that and realize it. They realize it, but they don't do something about it. You know, you get used to playing it safe long enough, and it's terrifying, the idea of quitting your job. And because I was there, I knew I was going to quit my job when I did that in 2007. But I still, man, I got to admit, I was scared. I was leaving a really good paying job with good benefits. My parents kind of freaked. My dad was like, "What the hell are you doing? You know, you've got this permanent government job. Like, what are you doing? You know." But now he gets it now. You know, it's kind of funny. I think that first step is the hardest, but once you jump in the water, it's like you start swimming. You know, it's kind of, I equate it to that. You know, you make that plunge and you start figuring it out. I mean, I'm broken. I live with my parents, but you know, I'm not starving and I'm doing what I love. So that is success for my definition of success. I'm living the dream, man. It's cool shit.
Yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I know there's a guy out there. His name's Pat Flynn. He has this podcast called Smart Passive Income,
Okay.
and he had to, cut everything back and move in with his family too, and start his own business. And now he's extremely successful. So
That's rad.
yeah, so he knew he had to cut things down to the point and just leverage his friends and family in order to get where he needed to be. So sometimes you have to do that. So it's a good launching point. But the thing is, now you can concentrate full time on what's the most important to you.
Totally. I encourage people. I have friends that are kind of in that position too. Like they want to quit playing music, but they're like they don't want to move in with their parents. And I understand it's kind of a pride issue, but there's such a negative stigma attached to that. You know, if you look at other places in the world, you look at in Europe, and a lot of families live together for several generations. You know, it's like you live with your parents, and you get married, and you share the same home with your parents, your grandparents, and that's not negative at all. I think it really keeps that concept of family going, which is something lacking in our society for sure. You know, that you instantly get labeled. That's why I joke about the talk show thing. Like I'm going to be 40 and live with my parents. I remember seeing that kind of thing on talk shows when I was a teenager. You'd see that was a common one. You know, like lazy, no good. You know, doesn't do anything, leeching off his parents. At age 40, still lives with his folks in the basement. You know, it's always, I know there are negative examples of that for sure, but I think people instantly attach that stigma to it, that it's just a bad thing. But yeah, it can be a very good thing. I mean, my parents and I are on great understanding with it. You know, we help each other out. I help them out with stuff when I can. And they realize that as a touring musician, I'm only home maybe a month or two out of the year. So
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, I can't really afford to have my own place. And if I did, it would be a ridiculous waste of money to be paying rent 12 months out of the year so I can enjoy two of them, you know? So
yeah.
It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of bands doing that. They just, they sell everything. They don't really worry about getting a place. They get back and they just sleep on their friend's floor whenever they are off tour, and then they go back on tour.
Totally. Couch surf, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely do. Yeah, my parents are way over in West Virginia, so it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
But, I mean, still, it's assessing, your income and what you can do and what you can cut. So I take it you're not waiting for a record label exec to come down out of heaven and pick you up, right?
No, I'm happily on an independent label that is started and run by friends of mine, including myself. It's called Farmageddon Records, and we started the label late 2009. It actually kind of centered around the first release from Jake Orvis, the band I play in. Our first album, It's All Been Said. We released that in 2010, and that was the first release of the label. So we've been a successful small DIY independent record label for about 3 years now, and I'm happy with that. I mean, I don't want the fame and all the money and to play that game, because basically I have the freedom to do whatever I want musically, and the label's run by my friends and myself, so you know that's encouraged. Basically, Farmageddon wants me to just keep what I'm doing, so there's no creative control issue. It's really nice. I'd rather be here and be making less money and have the freedom to make the music I want and play it to people who appreciate it. It's a small DIY crowd, but I prefer that than to be in the big label. I'm not waiting for that at all.
Nice. That's cool. So, I mean, this independent label, I know they just finance your album. Is that with the main?
Yeah, we help with the album as much as we can, because we're all broke. Like, none of us are making enough money to we don't really have a big income pool to draw from. But yeah, the label helps. We help each other out, help with recording costs, help manufacturing stuff, and sometimes we might get merch, advanced, and then we'll pay back out of our sales through the label kind of thing. So it's a very friend to friend kind of deal, and it helps too. I mean, it's we don't have a lot of money to do it, but collectively we get more done, than if you were to do it by yourself. I think all the bands do, like Jake Orvis and the Broken Band, the Goddamn Gallows, Graham Lindsay, they're a really great artists on the label, and we all kind of cross-pollinate by working together. We cross-pollinate each other's crowds. Everybody gets turned on to one another, so it just by default, I think it helps everybody out, because it makes the family bigger,
Definitely. So it's like building a scene and working together with other people in the scene to make yourself stronger, or make everybody stronger as a musician, right?
Exactly. It's a collective win-win kind of thing. There's no rock stars. We don't have any rock stars involved with the label. Anybody that's too about themselves and not kind of team player oriented, we don't really want to work with them. And if we do, those are the type of people that eventually fall by the wayside.
Oh, definitely no. I mean, there's a lot of musicians like that just have the blinders on and they're in it for themselves. They want you to promote them, but they don't go out of the same way to promote you. So I think that's one takeaway from this is that build a good relationship and build a scene with musicians that help each other.
Totally.
I mean, shit. If you don't have family, or you can sleep on each other's floors when you're all not on tour, right?
Exactly, totally. And everybody's got an open door that way, and and not only is it a really important music kind of philosophy, it's a life philosophy that I think is lost. Like so many people get caught into this I, me, mine kind of thing. They're just worried about their own fate and destiny and doing what best serves them as an individual. But you really, in the long run, you screw yourself that way. That's not how it works, because we're all, I like to look at the entire human race as a family, as being brothers and sisters. So what you do affects your neighbor, and it will ultimately affect you. So you have to work together and take care of each other. View each other as equals. And that's one of the things maybe the thing I like most about our label is that there's no favoritism really. Everybody looks at each other. Everybody's on equal footing, and we celebrate each other's victories. If something's going good for one of the bands or a great opportunity comes their way, there's no jealousy or envy or why isn't that happening for me kind of bullshit. It's like, hell yeah, my friends are doing well, and the irony past that too is that that benefits everybody. When somebody on the label starts advancing, the label advances. So it's like it follows suit. Everybody, the people that start following this band start checking everybody else out, and I like to look at life that way. That we're in it. Life's a team sport. You're here to help your brothers and sisters. So it's a cool thing, man.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. So let's get into some financial stuff. So you don't need to tell me your finances, but where does the majority of your income come from? Is it like live shows, merchandise, digital downloads?
Let me think here. It's kind of a tough one. I should know the answer to that question. That shows you how disorganized I am. But,
it's all good.
I would say probably a split between live shows and merch at the shows. Those are probably pretty close together as being even for the main source. And digital downloads, I do pretty good. I might, it varies. Sometimes I'll make $50 to $100 a month from digital downloads. Sometimes I'll do a tour and sell. When I'm touring, I usually sell more, have more digital downloads. I think more people see it and hear it at the shows and then go home and buy it online kind of thing. So sometimes I think the most I've made in digital downloads in a month is maybe $500-$600. Like I've had, and that to me is like a really big. I think about and that includes MP3s that are 70 or 80 cents a piece, or things like Spotify or internet listening services that you might get like a few pennies when someone listens to your song kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when I've made that much, I think, wow, like there might have been 1,000. I might have sold 1,000 songs, or during that month, and that trips me out. Like for being an independent DIY musician, that's like, wow, like there's a lot of people paying attention.
Well, that's powerful. I mean, that's when you're playing stuff live, and then people go home and they cared enough about your performance to go and buy your shit. And then you see that, you see the results of that. I mean, I think 1,000 people buying your stuff in a month is beautiful. It's amazing. And that
shows, it is.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of, just keep working at it to like grow that to 2,000 a month, That's
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So do you use anything like YouTube to also help promote your music?
Oh yeah, YouTube is amazing, man. I can't say enough about how wonderful and powerful a tool YouTube is, because I've put clips on there. Like I have a YouTube channel. I think it's youtube.com/JamesAbilly, if I recall. I hope that's it.
It's like /user/JamesAbilly. I'll post notes at the bottom with the link to that.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. I think I post clips every now and then of a new song, and a lot of people. It's amazing with technology now with smartphones and stuff. It's amazing. Like I know there's like a few thousand clips that have me in them. Whether it's me solo, there's a bunch of solo clips of me. There's clips of me playing with Jake, with the Swinos, with the Hatchet Rooms, Woodrot, almost every band I've been in, even bands that predate the internet. Like there's people who put video on there. I've put some old video stuff on there too, but it's amazing to me sometimes to be playing a show, and I totally check. Like I'll nerd out and put my name in and see if there's new clips in, when I'm on the road every couple of days and see what's going on. And it's amazing. Sometimes I'll be at a show and you just got done playing, and 20 minutes later you get this notification and someone at the show already posted a clip of the set you just did on YouTube. Like it's amazing, and I think that's a measurably powerful and positive tool, because especially when it sounds good. I mean, and a lot of times it sounds good. It's a really good representation of what you're doing at the show, and that speaks volumes, man. I feel like anybody can go in, and if you put enough time together, and with Pro Tools, you can make an album sound good, even if you don't know how to play or sing. But with like YouTube, you get a really raw live recording from a cell phone. It sounds good. I think that really rams it home that this guy can sing and play, or this is good. So it's YouTube's killer, man. I love YouTube.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I see a lot of people not using YouTube at all, or just it really helps. It just helps get it out there, and a lot of people are visual. They want to see you actually perform. I think even clubs that don't want to book you want to see you perform. That visual representation is really powerful.
Totally.
Do you actually use anything like AdSense or anything to monetize your videos, or?
What's that? Do
you use AdSense or anything to monetize your videos on YouTube?
AdSense? I don't even know.
You're missing out, dude.
Is that when you can sign up to where you get like paid per plays on YouTube kind of thing? Is that right?
Yeah, it's like you have a little pop up that happens underneath your thing, and people can click. If the people click on it, then you can get a little bit of money.
Oh, okay. So you can they allow them to add advertisements to your clip. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I haven't done that yet, but I thought you had to have a certain amount of views to do that for clips.
I think it used to be that way, but I think they're kind of really loosened it up right now. So. Okay,
I'll have to look into that, man. Thank you, because I had the most clips I have. Like I have some clips that are like in the 10,000-15,000 range. I know previously with YouTube, the only way you got the ad is if you had something in like the hundreds of thousands or millions kind of thing. But that's cool, man. That's good to know. I'll have to look into that because.
I got my own Shiplosion, which doesn't get a ton of views, but they let me monetize everything.
Cool.
So the only thing I recommend with that is don't have the intro ad, because people click away. They don't see the video happening immediately.
Yeah.
And so the little pop-up that goes over, people are used to that. They can click off that. But it's that intro ad. If they see that big intro ad and not your music, then they'll just say screw it. Totally.
I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah. It's like fuck this. I want to see something without an ad. So.
your clip will start in 20 seconds or something.
That crap. So unless you have a super viral video, then fuck it, do it, because you make more money from those ads. But yeah, if you just want, I guess the main point is to get people to view your stuff. It's nice also if you can get a little bit of money from that. And it usually you're not going to get a shit ton of money, so it's not something to chase away fans with a big giant video.
Totally. That's rad. I'll have to look into that. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. If you need help setting it up, just let me know.
Right on. Very cool.
Cool. I got distracted. I get into this stuff.
Dude, I do too, man. I call it free-range conversation. It's kind of let it go where it goes,
Hell yeah. So I think I covered a lot of this. So you're out on the road a lot. Is that getting tiresome at all, or is it something that invigorates you, or how do you kind of feel like being on the road most of the time?
It's both, man. I love what I do. I'm just kind of coming out of a rougher spot with it. The last year or so really kicked my ass.
Oh, really?
A lot of vehicle troubles. We're kind of running myself into the ground, getting tired. I think I've been averaging 200 to 250 shows a year, and I think I hit the 300 mark in it was 2010 or 2011.
Damn.
Been playing enough that, and I love it, man. But I think I reached the point where I kind of burnt myself out a little bit, and it was starting to kick my ass. And also just being, like, I'm sober, and I play in bars almost every night, too, which that can be kind of crazy on the mind. And it's not that I have the desire to drink anymore, but just being sober and being around drunks all the time can really start to get old.
Yeah.
So I think that, and being away from home, like I didn't used to miss being away from home. When I first started touring really heavily, I think 2008 was the first year that I really started hitting the road. And at first you're just like hitting the ground running and having a ball, and you hardly miss home at all. But it started to kind of catch up with me how little I was at home in the last year or so, and started missing home. And there were times where I'd be on the road and be like, man, I don't want to be here right now. I want to be home. I want to see my son. I want to see my family, see my cat, see my friends back home. You know, I've got incredibly close friends that live 5 to 10 minutes away from me that I haven't seen in years because I've been, you know, just touring like almost nonstop since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's amazing. I love it, and I don't ever plan on quitting doing it. But yeah, I'm just kind of coming out of that spot. I went through a phase where I was burnt out and I was tired and not enjoying it all the time. There were moments where I wasn't enjoying it at all, and just kind of coming back from that. You know, we had a lot of vehicle troubles on a few tours, consecutive tours too, and that can really sour things quickly too if you're having to cancel shows and losing money and having to deal with vehicle issues on a regular basis. That really can kind of take the wind out of the sails, literally, you know. And there's pros and cons to it, man. I mean, I love it, and but it's like anything else, too much of a good thing. You have to find that balance, that kind of comfortable medium with whatever it is that you do.
Definitely, I've definitely struggled with the alcohol thing myself. I mean, it's so easy when you're playing bars. What I found is that it's really just counterproductive. Even if you're not going completely 100% sober, when you're doing shows, it's just like showing up for work. You got to concentrate on selling your merch and keeping track of your equipment and keeping your head in the game. It's not a party every night. You know, it's actually a job. You're trying to make money and you can't blow it all at the bar drinking.
Totally.
But yeah, the vehicle trouble thing, you're definitely not alone in that. That's one of the biggest things I've heard from all touring bands. You know, from independent musician to people like people who had the big tour bus going. Like, just vehicle problems just suck and can suck the money out of your tour.
Yeah, it can suck the money and the life out of it too. I mean, it's kind of the constant. You know, you have to kind of take that. And I'm aware of that. It normally wouldn't have ever gotten me down. It used to be kind of a laughing thing. We just laugh it off, figure a way to fix it, and move on. If you had to cancel a show, that sucked, but it's not the end of the world. But these last few tours, we had a lot of vehicle trouble compounded, just like 7 or 8 breakdowns in the course of a week or two, kind of thing, and missing not just a show or two, but like a week's worth of shows. And you get to the point where you're seriously thinking you have to seriously sit down and have to talk. You know, if we have another breakdown and miss another show, we might have to cancel this tour. And so this month-long tour might become a 2-week tour, or this 2-month tour might become cut short at 3 weeks. You know, and that's really rough shit to weigh on your mind, because you don't want to do that to fans, you don't want to do that to friends. Plus, you want to come home with some money. You don't want to do that. You know, we're in the position with the band I'm in and what I'm doing that this is my paycheck. So.
Well, damn, it's also fucking hard work to book all those damn shows. You're
totally.
Spending months booking that shit just to have it not work out for you, you know?
Oh, yeah, the booking is the hardest part, I think, in a lot of ways, and takes the most time, too. Yeah, it's frustrating to think that, wow, I worked for this, or worked, 2, 3, 4 months to put this together, and now a week into it, we might have to abort mission and go home with our tails between our legs, broke, and in debt. You know, it's rough shit to, and it's been sour. And I think it breaks a lot of bands. You know, a lot of people go out there and love it and they're passionate about it, and the reality of that just knocks them into the ground. And some people don't come back from that, and it's sad. You know, it really, I think, it ruins a lot of people. And it's, I won't let it ruin me, and that's why I'm learning to kind of back off, take a break here or there, not play so many shows out of the year, because I want to do this, as long as I'm living, and I don't want to let circumstance or my own foolishness, kind of ruin it.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. So how are you reinvigorating yourself so you don't get burnt out?
What I've been doing, taking more breaks, spending more family time. That's definitely something I'm doing and going to do. Not tour as much in the future. Maybe do 150 shows a year instead of 250 kind of thing. Like back it off so I'm still busy, but I have more of what resembles a home life at home. And doing that. Biggest thing for me has been meditation. I'm not religious, but I really am a fan of Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been just kind of centering myself, realigning myself with the world, the universe, everything around me, people and everything. So that's been good. I meditate, when I get up in the morning, sometimes multiple times a day if I'm not feeling well or something's bothering me. And that this last tour was way better because of that. Like, we didn't have the breakdowns, which was good. It was just a better tour than the ones we'd had.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense. Plus, I kind of had that and applied that in the road, so it's a lot easier to deal with the daily grind and not get frustrated and not feel like like a fish out of water in the bars every night. So that's been my biggest thing, I think, is just positive mental attitude, the PMA, and meditating. Getting my Zen on, as I like to call it. I read a lot of books. I have something that's kind of based like that, that's positive thinking or like kind of Buddhist inspired. The Dalai Lama, like I read a lot of his books. He's like my superhero at this point in life. That stuff is really the big thing, is just having that positive energy going and thought process. It just quite literally changes the world and how you view it and your life. So that's what I've been doing.
That's amazing. That's really powerful. I mean, yeah, mindset, a lot of people, a lot of musicians don't think about it. In fact, I think a negative mindset does run rampant with a lot of musicians. And I think it can definitely get in your way. I mean, if you have a negative mindset towards anything, it gets in the way of your success. And it does tire you out when you only view the negative around you instead of seeing the positive opportunities that are around you all the time. So yeah, having your head on straight, whether it's through meditation or positive thinking, I think is extremely important. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you, man. It's essential. I think it's even and way past the musicians too. I mean, it's a life thing. I really believe that we are what we think, and what we choose to think, and what we choose to focus on and cultivate within ourselves. If you choose to look at the cup as being half full as opposed to half empty, life's gonna be better for you. It's that simple. You view the world in a completely different light, and you learn to appreciate what you have as opposed to rather than aspiring for what you don't, or longing for what you don't have, and like having suffering for that, and it's I mean, if you want to focus on the negative stuff, yet life sucks. There's enough shit to focus on, enough misery and pain and death and poverty and oppression and injustice in the world that it's a really lame world. But if you focus on the beautiful stuff, it's an amazing world. I mean, I'm looking at the sun and the trees, and I'm staying with really cool friends here. It's beautiful, and I get to do what I love tonight. I think it's just reminding yourself when you're touring that, yeah, the tour might be kicking your ass, but what are you doing right now? Are you going to a 9-to-5 that you hate?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting to do what you love every night. Your job is your passion. Like you are a small percentage of humanity that is actually doing that on the planet. So I mean, it's reminding yourself of that it may be hard, but I really believe that it's a privilege and a blessing to be able to do what I do, and I remind myself of that daily to the best of my ability. That you are incredibly fortunate to be here right now, James, doing this. Like, and there are a lot of people who wish they could. So get off the pity pot, this is awesome stuff, and at the end of the day, it's what you make it.
Oh, that's inspiring. Thank you. That's awesome. It's actually inspiring for me. I still got my day job, so I need to give that a kick, which will happen soon, hopefully.
Right on, man. Good for you.
Yeah, end of the year, I plan on quitting my job. I'm not going to be rich at all, be extremely poor, but I'm going to focus on the things that I love, just like you're saying. And that's when you're living your passion, and you don't need a shit ton of money. That's not the important thing.
Totally. That's true wealth is not. It's not money. It's happiness. It's feeling content and feeling fulfilled. Singing your song. Being unsung. If your life is unsung and you've got millions of dollars, I doubt that Donald Trump is a very happy human being. Every time I see that guy talk, he seems cynical and pissed off. And
yeah.
he's a multi-billionaire. Like, I live below the poverty line driving around in my Honda, but I do what I love. And I radiate the happiness of that and positive energy from that. That's where it's at. That's wealth, man. That wealth has nothing to do with money or material gain at all. You know, I have less of an attachment to material things as I grow older and realize that too, you know. I had a guitar break like a year ago when we came home from Europe. The headstock of my guitar popped off. And it wasn't cool. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't happy about it. It was lame. But man, a few years ago, had that happened, I would have freaked out. It would have been like, this is the end of the world. You know, you when you're negative and focusing on that, everything is a crisis. You know, you freak out over the stupidest things and lose your cool. And it, you know, it's like I opened it up and it was like, that's a bummer. But I didn't lose it. And my friends that were with me that saw it when I initially opened up my guitar case, they were more distraught than I was. I think they thought I was like, they were like really upset and, geez, call the airport and sue the airport and da-da-da, and waiting for me to have a freak out. And I didn't have a meltdown. They were like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, man, it sucks. But, you know, me flipping out ain't going to do anything. It's okay. It's fixable. It's not the end of the world, you know. And now that guitar is glued back together and I'm playing it tonight. It's okay, you know.
Hell yeah. That's a great that's a good attitude to be able to work through a crisis. I mean, because this type of career is just fraught with crisis. You never know what the next club's going to bring you. You know, you don't know if that next club's going to be a total dick and try to screw you out of money. You don't know if your car's going to break down. You don't know what's going to happen. People could steal money from you. People could take your merch. You don't know. It's just getting that positive mindset, and you could just rail against the world and have nothing come of it, or just move on to the next show.
Totally. You know, it's crises that, I guess, you know, things like that, they can either be a crisis or the end of the world. If you have that kind of negative mindset, then they are. But if you have the positive mindset, it's just a small bump in the road, you know. It's not the end of the world. And you realize that this is just part of the course. This is part of the path, and it's okay. It's not going to be like this forever. You have a quicker reset point to be positive in lieu of things that happen that aren't positive to you, you know. I had something I was going to add to that, and I just totally brain farted. But yeah, you know, yeah, it's important to. I guess it's you know, we all get knocked down in life. I remind myself of this, and I like to remind other people of it. That, you know, life will knock you down sometime. What it's about is, you know, how long do you stay down, and that's a choice. You know, that's not someone else's fault. That's not the situation's fault. At that point, it's your fault if you stay down too long. You know, life's not about it's not about what happens to us so much as about how we choose to react or respond to it, you know.
Definitely. Getting back up and fighting.
Yeah, you gotta get up. The world's still turning, so you gotta get up and keep moving. You know, it's not gonna stop because you stopped. You know, that's very important to keep in mind. It may suck, but hey, you know, I've met people like that. The job I used to have, I met people that were approaching retirement and weren't going to retire, and their sole reason for not retiring was, I'm not going to give my ex-wife my retirement. You know, and I was like, holy shit, I can't even imagine holding on to a grudge or bitterness like that, and that's going to be the reason you're going to work until you die at this job that you cannot stand. It's simply because you don't want to give this person your part of your retirement. Like, that's insane to me. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around that, you know?
That is really insane. Yeah, your whole life wrapped up in hate, you know? Yeah, that's not... Yeah. That does drag you down, and drags other people down around you, and people don't want to be around that.
No, totally, man. It's not healthy, you know? I really can't be around negative people anymore, or negative situations. And there are people I love that I can't be around for that reason. And it's not that I don't love them anymore, but you kind of learn how to love people from afar sometimes, and it's a painful thing to do, but I really look at it like life is short. This reality that we have, this shell that we have, we don't have it that long, and we don't have really enough time and energy to do all the things that we'd like to do in the first place. So why would you want to waste any of that precious time on negative stuff, on bullshit, on bitterness, on drama? You know, it's not logical.
No, actually, the people that it's kind of a hard thing because, you know, you have friends you've grown up with and, you know, you spent many years with, but sometimes you have to let them go in order to accomplish the things you need to accomplish in life.
Totally.
There's something that's been going around that I've been listening to, and I need to figure out where this has come from, but it sounds like it makes sense. But it says your quality of life is kind of the average of the people that you hang around with. So like the 5 people you hang around with the most are kind of I guess it's kind of the average of their mindset kind of affects your mindset.
Totally.
So if you're hanging around people that are dragging you down, they don't have a positive outlook, or they say, you can't make money as a musician, or, things like that, then that drags you down.
Totally.
That affects your mindset, regardless of how positive you want to be.
Totally. That totally makes sense. I mean, that's a reality. That's kind of a law of attraction, too. I mean, even if you do have a positive attitude and don't get involved in the negativity of drama, if you have negative people or people that thrive on that or create drama in your life, you have negativity and drama in your life by default. Even if you're not touching it, it's still there. It's still in your yard and in your living room, and it's tough to realize that. I've lost some friends in recent years over that kind of thing, and it's not. I don't love them any less. I could just make it to the point where you just can't be around them anymore, and or you get that too. It's like I'm not like a celebrity by any means. I don't make a lot of money, but there are people that. It's funny that people that are sad. Really, it's not funny. But people that like start hating on me as I've become like more quote unquote successful, that I'm living this dream, that they want to talk shit. Wow, where did that come from? We've been friends for all this time, and it basically comes from like bitterness, envy kind of thing. I think there are those particular people look at what I'm doing and secretly wish that they were doing what I'm doing, and they're not. And it's not that I'm doing something revolutionary, but just because I'm doing more and I'm happy. I'm not miserable like I used to be, and miserable like they are now. Like that, someone that you love and thinks loves you becomes a hater. That's really lame.
No, it happens a lot. I mean, there's a lot, especially I think we have come from like that punk DIY, do-it-yourself type of mentality in friends, and they kind of look down on people that kind of make it. They want to drag them down.
Selling out.
So
you're selling out to be successful. That's such bullshit.
Yeah, I don't view that way at all. And anyone who has that mindset, I kind of I don't even argue with them anymore. Yeah. I just say, I think you should be paid for your passion. I think there's nothing wrong with it, and there should be no guilt involved, and you should support others that are succeeding. In fact, you should call them up and ask them, how are you succeeding? That's why I'm calling you today.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. Way to tie it in together. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so to wrap it up, what do you think musicians should be doing right now? Like the people that aren't quite there yet? Is there any advice, like quick tips that you feel like, hey, this is what you should do to try to become a successful musician?
Let me think here.
Put you on the spot,
No, I love this, man. This has been really cool talking with you, by the way. Let me think. I guess the biggest thing is to do what you're doing because you love it. Let that be the reward or the payoff for it. Let that be the paycheck that you have in mind. Don't do it with the idea that you're going to go out and make a lot of money and be focusing on that and letting that be what motivates you. And I guess I like to say let your heart drive you forward rather than your ego. Let it be the passion that calls the shots. Stay true to that. Do what you're doing because you love it, because that comes through too. And that, I believe that eventually leads to the more material successes. Anyway, you'll be more successful that way because that's what people want and need in their lives. We all need passion and sincerity and honesty. When we listen to an artist, we want to believe that it's true, that it's real, that they mean what they're saying. So that's probably the most important thing. And I think that beyond that is to have a positive attitude, to remind yourself that you're doing this because you love it. Why are you doing this? If you're doing it to get, the big house and lots of money and stuff, that's fine. But, be prepared for disappointment because the odds of doing that's a real crapshoot. But the odds of doing it and being happy, if you're doing it because you love it, anybody can do that. If you keep that in mind, you will be successful, even if you're living with your parents or you're couch surfing at a friend's house when you're 50 and you don't have any money in the bank or even have a bank account, you still can be successful and happy doing that. So I think that those are the big things, and also just to be nice to people, not just positive with your own outlook, but be nice and thankful to people you deal with. Be nice to the sound guy, be nice to the bar owner, the promoter, even if they don't know what they're doing. You know, we're all learning in life, so keep that in mind. Don't have this elitist frustration kind of thing going into places. Be nice to people, because it's karma too. That comes back. The problems I have had dealing with vehicles and things like that, they've gone a lot easier because I'm nice to people too. Like when I've had trouble, people have come running to help me out, and it's because I'm not an asshole. You know, I think those are the big things: to be passionate, be honest, and be kind, be positive.
That's awesome. Actually, you just inspired me, so that is great advice. So,
right on, man. That's awesome.
All right, so let me see here. People can get in touch with you. They can go to your website. That's www.jameshoneycutt.com, HUNNICUTT.com. Or they can get at you on Twitter at Jamesabilly. And they can also catch you on Facebook at James Honeycutt Music. Is there anywhere else people can catch you?
I think that's about it. I have a Reverb Nation page, but I can't remember the URL of that, if it's Jamesabilly or James Hunnicutt. But I know that the website has links to, I think it has links to everything you mentioned and the Reverb Nation and the YouTube too. So I think that, if you go to the website, I think you can find me at most of the internet pages.
Perfect. And I'm also going to put some links down here where people can buy your music and also go to Farmageddon Records and CD Baby. So thank you very much, James, and very good luck on your shows coming up. And take care, man.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Head over to howtorunaband.com and sign up for the email list to get your free download of Get More Fans to Your Show's ebook. Once you're on the email list, I'll be sending you out notifications to let you know when more episodes of this podcast are out. Now enjoy James Honeycutt's Dying Healer Waltz.
To everyone else, watch as I destroy myself. Death by cathartic therapy. I'm dying here for you, so that you might make it through. So dance the devil's tune while I leave. To everyone else, watch as I destroy myself. What a contradiction I've turned out to be. Dying here